Welcome to this week's episode of the Big Eyes Podcast. I am your host LJ, and today I have my crime back with me. Shout out to Mills and the professional boy himself, Jeff. What's up, guys?
What's going on, man? I'm so happy to be here, dude.
What it do, baby?
What it do, baby?
All right, guys. So, we are here to, a special occasion, a special memorial for the ending of one of the, the top guy right now. They're really leaving while on top. That's
crazy.
Kind of crazy.
It is.
That's crazy right now. So we're here in memoriam of Demon Slayer, ending. The manga ends this last Sunday. Final chapter. It's all wrapped up. It's all done. Yeah, so I mean, let's really just get right into it. How did you guys feel about the ending? Like, let's like cut out the extra stuff, bro. Let's get right into it. How did we feel about that ending?
I do think it was a chapter of fan service. I did think it was a little underwhelming, but I get it. I understood it. I like to see the whole generations thing in the modern day and seeing kind of like who matched with who almost and the reincarnations, those type of things. Because they were, hinting this whole reincarnation thing the whole damn series. It's just like they go into that. Like Tanjiro mentions it a lot. I hope this person comes back and gets to enjoy their life. And I think this was like it was an ode to that. But we could have technically done without it. It could have ended, at 204. But I just think that they decided, they were going to give us some fan service and give us a little something to hold on to near the end, and maybe, something in the future, maybe.
No, I think Jeff hit it like right on the head, because I think initially when I read it, and I read the leak of it, so it's the end of the thing. So I read the leak of it. And I read it, and I was like, huh, okay, this is interesting, kind of, and was kind of going through it and essentially being like, okay. I don't know. These are all I'm thinking when we were heading to modern times. Oh, it's going to be them grown up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Especially when you saw the last photo of chapter 204, and eventually would have been into chapter 205. So I'm like, oh, we're gonna getting them grown up, all this other stuff. But then you kind of realize that they're like, and sorry for all the honking behind me, Brooklyn. But I think Jeff hit it right on the head of the talk of all the reincarnation through this entire show, because you get to see their ancestors kind of live a life that they never really experienced nor got to live. Even through like the Hishiras out here fighting for their lives and fighting to keep the world safe. And now their ancestors, and well, not ancestors, their descendants. Their descendants are able to actually enjoy everything that they've sort of done. They've made the world a much better place. They've now their family are able to go live in the metropolitan city and have these kind of carefree normal ass lives. And that waking up every morning to like families being murdered, and then realizing that you have to go out here and put your life on the line, all these other stuff, putting your family at risk, going through all this trauma that you've gone through, and then at the very end being like, yo, you did it just for this reason.
I love on the final chapter that all their descendants are just pretty much copy and paste them.
Yeah.
They were like, you know what? We're not even gonna hint at who could be who. They're just like, we're literally gonna give all these kids the same face.
You know what I mean? Like you can kind of like patch it together of who may have married who or who had kids with who and those type of things. But and even so, I think they were calling like, their great grandparents.
Yeah. So this is
it's removed, quite a bit.
But
which,
no,
by the way, I don't think genes really works that way. Like they were it's like if you're removed like, two grandparents, it's like they look fairly similar to, Tanjiro, like the Tanjiro's descent. He looks very similar to Tanjiro.
Yeah. So
all of Tanjiro's family in the first episode, they all look like various sizes of Tanjiro anyway. It's like Tanjiro with black hair, Tanjiro with Tanjiro with slightly longer hair, mom Tanjiro, dad Tanjiro.
Yep.
Like
Yeah,
all of it, it's clearly very strong genes.
yeah. Genes are just on the steroids.
Am I wrong for reading? I'm not sure if I actually got this right. I'm assuming Nezuko and Zenitsu.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
that's what I'm
That's what it
thinking.
looked like to
Okay,
me. Yes. That's what it
I
looked like to
mean,
me.
he got it.
That it happened.
Listen, he
Yeah.
got it.
He
Listen,
got it.
he was
He got
going.
it.
He did what he had to do. End of the day, he completed his own mission. So
Yes, of
shout out,
course.
shout out to him.
I need to see the chapters of the first dates and the evenings out and um, all this
Yeah,
other
because it
stuff like that.
looks like Tanjiro may have, he may have scored as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. What's her name? Kano? Is that it?
Canal,
Canal?
yes,
You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
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 Looks
Shout
like it happened.
One
And we
thing.
talked about that. Sorry to cut you off. Sorry, but now we talked about that at the end of our lookout season, right?
Hmm.
Like, remember when he was just like we were talking about the coin flip? He's like, "Girl, let me shoot your coin up in the air.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, he
Let
hit
me
her with the
that was the
let me
moment.
change your
crazy
life."
game.
Yeah, that was the moment. I feel like that was them letting us know what this was ultimately going to look like. I do think that Mills. I think you said something similar to this in our Discord. I think 205 will look so great animated. Um,
Yeah,
I
Yeah, it's
think,
definitely gonna hit better animated,
yeah,
I feel, than this chapter. I feel this
definitely.
chapter, like you said, it was a fan service chapter. Like, and to be honest, we could have done without it.
Mhm.
But I do feel when you finally see it, like as a final episode, I think this is gonna hit definitely. It's
Yeah.
gonna hit different. I think they're gonna probably do a little bit more, like kind of tie in some past things with like, what the present looks like. But
Mhm.
I feel like this is gonna be a great closing episode as a
Yeah,
closing chapter of a manga.
it's gonna be heartwarming for sure. I think for an anime perspective, it's kind of different to like when you wanna give fan service, like especially from a manga standpoint. Like there's only so many emotions that you're going to like grab. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like because
definitely.
you want to see this like um what's her name, the love pillar and your guy Jamal.
Oh,
Like
Iguro.
that scene to me was like, being to see that they kind of, I think they owned like a bakery or some kind of like, it's a very
Yeah,
quick panel, but like to me that was like the best part of it. But I think when we see that animated, it's gonna bring so many feels just because of obviously the situation, what happened. But so there's only so much emotion you're gonna get from like actually reading something like this, like 205, you know what I mean? Like not a lot of action, more of like, hey, this is what the hell's been going on. It's modern day Tokyo. Here's a bunch of great grandkids from some of your favorite people or reincarnations of some people. I don't,
and I think the fact that it's also like a week by week, like chapter by chapter, we're skipping. We skipped like 2 weeks because of COVID, like all these other
Mhm.
things. I think just the
yeah.
kind of staggered schedule. Once we see this, I mean, I think even I plan on rereading this. Um,
Oh,
so
definitely.
I think
Definitely.
once I read it all as a thing, oh, it's gonna hit me way better than it probably
Probably.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like what Jeff was saying about how like this chapter is gonna hit differently animated is also because going back to what Mills was saying, in the chapters before this, like like 2-3 chapters, you really see like the gruesome ending.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the aftermath of like a very gruesome ending, of
It's
just
a cool
everything they
down.
kind of like what they've had to go through like up to this point. Like, and the chapters beforehand, you really just like, damn, like we lost a lot of people, like a lot of
Mhm.
people, like there was a very like literally to the last moment
Yeah.
of like Tanjiro losing his eye and his arm because he was possessed and all these things, and you just see the aftermath of all that. Then you just go into the future, you see that all that is like
The
payoff for their families to like live way better
Yeah,
lives.
and I think that's the bright side of it all, and why it actually happened and why it needed to happen this way, because it was peace and like freedom was foreshadowed the entire time, even though it looked like it was nowhere near close. And regardless if yeah, maybe it was a shorter anime slash manga, but I've seen people kind of upset about how many pillars died or whatever the case may be, or it ending in general. But one thing that we just don't have enough of, today in like the anime world and the manga world, is leaving on top. and
Yeah.
like just being able to like stamp your shit in the history, like, yo, this is what we did. This is Demon Slayer. It's hard. It's damn near perfect. Okay, and this is what we did, and we don't. They gave us just what we needed to give. Yeah, the ending was more of a cool down, and maybe it was unnecessary, but I think it's cute. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's stuff that like we would like to. I mean, who wouldn't want to? Who wouldn't want to? See. Well, in Dragon Ball situation, we got GT, and we were a little. But you know what I mean? Like, who doesn't want to see some of their favorite characters and see what their life turned out? And we don't necessarily see Tanjiro. But I'm just my point is like, you got to see that he got to live a normal life to some extent, just off of his family.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like I saw a tweet like yesterday, and someone was talking about people just want fast-paced mangas. They don't want like slow burns anymore, like something you have to kind of invest in. And I think that, like, personally for me, is very like, I like fast-paced animes, first of all, because Demon Slayer is a perfect length. I think 205 chapters is perfect.
Oh man, so
then they tell such a great story throughout the whole thing, like keeps you invested and all that. I think sometimes with like slow burn animes or animes that are longer, where you gotta be a bit more invested in, you can get from a point of you're telling a compelling story to now you're just kind of like making fillers for no reason. And that's one thing. Oh no, and that's one thing though that I appreciate about Demon Slayer, that even like even like the filler points, they make sense. They have a reasoning behind them, and you're able to just kind of get through it. And but they keep you invested. They actually tell a very compelling story. Like, you learn so much throughout it. It's not like they like leave you with a bunch of those loopholes or like a bunch of plot gaps.
The modern day jump, I think it is a big jump when I realized that these were like great grandkids and not just grandkids. But I think pushing it that far, like from a time stamp, I think it leaves a lot of room for them to do whatever they want with the series next. If that's their if that's their motive, like if they decide to do a prequel or even a sequel after that, at least they have that huge space that they left open from 20, like boom, 205 generation, generations later, great grandkids. We may not even see them ever again. That's fine. But if they decide to do a sequel, at least they have that empty blank space that they left us. Like, what the fuck happened between, this and this, or like, was there ultimate peace for real, or if they go back and do a prequel when, they want to talk about Tanjiro's dad or whatever, however they decide, if anything, I think it leaves like proper space to continue the series in a way, if that's something they decide to do, which, I'm not like itching for a prequel or a sequel or whatever, but like, I would obviously be excited about it. I just think that some things are better left perfect. We, like you said, we're living in an age where there's some of our favorite shit has not ended yet, and it's been out, some of it, before we were born.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's just like, all right, well, don't get me wrong, like, yeah, if I get to watch my favorite shit at all times, that's cool, but I would like to see climaxes and a proper send off and finish of, I'm a Hunter guy, so you already know I'm living it. You know what I mean? So like, and that will probably never end. But in this, now we have this Demon Slayer, and the manga is over. This, and the anime is we probably got 3 more years of that shit. You know what I'm saying? But I really appreciate that they had the balls to kind of clip it. I think that shows confidence, to be honest.
And I think like them, ending the manga where it's at, and now they have all focus on the anime. That allows them to do so much more with the anime.
I know,
like,
dude.
You can think of all the non-canon stuff that they can do, all just the they could really take it sky's the limit with the anime now, because the manga's done. And I'm like you said, I appreciate them. They have a crazy come up story too. Like, they're with that first season, like, bolstered their sales so much, and like just shot them to the top of the world. And for them to be literally sitting on the throne pretty much, and being like, what, let's close this up. Like,
how many seasons you think that this manga, how many seasons you think we got in total?
I would say if there are no
Maybe
more
3 more.
movies left,
Well, yeah,
nah.
movies. I keep forgetting about the movies. They're gonna.
If
This shit
they
gonna be on for 5 more years.
if
It
there are
is.
no more movies left, I mean, they're going through the next arc. There's not too many arcs in the show. I mean, and they all extend pretty long. So I could say probably we could end up wrapping up. I would be shocked if it's any more than four, but I
For
could probably say like maybe three.
just depending on
Um,
how they want to put their movies out.
yeah, just kind of depending. I mean, the train arc becoming a movie itself cuts out a lot of the things that could have been in the second season, unless they
Mhm.
choose to go the DBZ
I
route
was gonna
and
say we
Yeah,
still have
the
that
where they make
option.
the movie.
and chop it up. But I think there's a lot of things. Actually, you know, there's we probably, I think in terms of recapping this, we'll probably talk about our favorite arcs and stuff like that. But there's so much stuff that you could fit into various different places, and they fit in so much just in the first season itself. I mean,
Yeah,
26 episodes,
yeah,
goddamn.
yeah, yeah. You're
Um,
right.
so yeah, I can't see this going longer than uh, 3 seasons,
Even
maybe
saying
4.
that, that's still 3 seasons. That's still 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that to those people that, maybe enjoy manga, but don't like. I'm one of those people. I don't really care about spoilers. Like spoilers don't really like ruin much for me personally. But for those people who really enjoy Demon Slayer and they're saying, "Oh, it ended," and this, that, and the third, like there's still a lot of Demon Slayer to get visually, and you. This is really just the beginning, which is weird. Like I just find it so strange. Like it's still the very beginning of Demon Slayer as far as success, and
Yeah.
and we just finished the manga, but like there's still so much marketing, and the money is going to come from the anime and merchandise, and all that fun shit.
Tying it back into the manga, what is you guys' favorite, like what is like one of your favorite Demon Slayer moments, or like just an arc that you could remember from the manga? Because like we're saying, this is personally for me, this manga is gonna be in like my top 10
Yeah, yeah.
all time. Like, and it's just that good. But what are you guys' some like favorite moments from
Ooh.
from the manga?
So I'm very fond of, and I think we're gonna end up seeing this in the second season, which is amazing. I'm very fond of the arc with probably one of our favorite characters collectively with the Uzui.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
very the entertainment, the thing where I was rereading it. I wasn't rereading it today, but I was kind of familiarizing myself because I know on my first read through this, I thought this chapter was just hilarious and then also incredibly eye-opening. So I think it happens after the Mugen Train arc, where they decide to go with Azui because he has to rescue his wives. He has to rescue his wives, and he goes to the city where apparently like prostitution is like the wave. Um, and they dress up Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke as girls, and they're going to brothels, and they're supposed to be prostitutes.
That's gonna
But
be
he sends
hilarious visually.
This is
yeah,
gonna be great. It's gonna be
so
great.
he sends them in there to get some info on like what's happening to all of the women in the city because Uzui's wives, who he has multiple of them, another like, god damn, is this guy the goat or is he the goat? Um, he has multiple wives and he's trying to save them. And then it ends up being this entire battle. I think
Right.
they learned a lot of different things about demons. I mean, we've seen the demons before that they just kind of slice their head off. This one isn't so easy. Um, we learned a couple more things about Nezuko gets some development, Tanjiro gets some development. A lot of things. It's kind of one, you see kind of considering now in the grand scope of things. I mean, just in the previous arc, Rengoku, he dies. Spoilers for the movie.
Right.
Um, he
He did.
dies. So you experience that first loss, and then you kind of go to Zuya, who by the end of this arc is like, "Yo, I'm so fucked up. I'm gotta retire from
Right.
this
I'm
shit."
done. Nigga. I can't do
Yeah,
this shit no more.
he's like, "I'm just gonna be
He
a full
loses an
time
arm and
fly nigga."
everything.
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
full
What you
time
want
fly
him to
nigga.
do?
Like, I do paperwork or something. I'm just gonna be a full time fly nigga at this point because there ain't no point in me, continuing to break my neck and break my back over this thing. I almost died. So, I think that's one of my favorite arcs. and there's various different things. I think just the moment also, and sorry if I'm stepping on anybody else's favorite moment, but the moment where Muzan enters Ubishiki's kind of like place, and he's just like having this conversation. You finally get to see these two entities that have been at war one on one, and then my dude blows himself up. He's like, gotcha.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
And he's like, no. And it's like, you didn't think that this was a suicide mission. Nah, this is always a suicide mission.
Foul, man. Foul.
Like you thought this illness was gonna kill me. Wrong. So that's my favorite part. I mean, that's another one of my favorite parts through this entire thing.
I don't know, this may not come to a surprise to anybody, but Dimensional Infinity Fortress. Look, man, if it's, I got to see Tanjiro and Gyu. I think Asaka was the 12 moon.
Oh yeah.
The upper moon. What was
He's
upper
the
moon
upper
one.
moon one. Which upper moon is he? Is he upper moon one?
It's I think he's three.
Cool. What did he do?
Akaza. He had the stripes over his eyes.
Oh yeah. Now I remember who you're talking about.
The freaking fire, water. Gyu's involved. What else could I mean, there's not, I think it's chapters like 147.
It's 147, 140. Yeah, it's 147. 147 through like 152, I think.
Oh, yeah. He was like I wouldn't say the renegade one, but kind of like the I think he was
one like pink hair.
Yeah, was he like one of the disrespectful one? It was like, yo, like, bro,
he knows his human name. It was like he was the one that he had like the fucking like the tats on his back and shit, like the
he had the tats on his face. He had the striped shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he fought with no weapon, straight hands.
Yeah, straight hands, all hands.
And I remember who you're talking about now.
He's like super stubborn, but he's like super resilient. I think he had like his powers were, it was it's like straight strength, which was weird for me when it came to like the demons, because like you said, he didn't fight with any weapons, all hands.
Oh, this guy was the guy who killed. Damn.
Because I remember there's a scene in that fight where he catches Tanjiro's sword.
Yeah, he's straight hand
in the middle of one of, he catches his sword in the middle of one of his techniques.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's doing the his Sundance technique.
Yeah.
And he catches the sword, and I was like, oh shit, like this guy's on a whole.
He had that compass needle shit. He had like his regeneration was enhanced. But really, I liked it because I got to see Tanjiro and Gyu fight side to side. That was really like, I can't wait to see it animated.
I mean,
yeah, that's gonna be
a lot sooner than before, because he's the one who killed Goku, I believe, right? Damn, trash. Sorry.
No, yeah, I know.
For you too.
Oh, but no, yeah, that's that whole arc of them fighting all the upper moons. Really, for me, that upper moon battle really should have been like the final boss battle.
I know, but
I mean, listen, I get it, and I've had my quarrels with the final battle against Muzan. Some at points seemed very repetitive. It felt like they took some of his like gruesomeness away.
Yeah.
But I understood it. I understood why they kind of did it the way they did. Just kind of seeing all of them fighting on their last leg and like having to like defeat this like final monster at 30% strength.
Right.
Just kind of seeing all that, it made sense, and I understood it. I understood why they would struggle. But that Upper Moon one fight was something out of heaven itself, man. That last final battle was so cold, and like the fact that he was the brother of the first, like the
Yeah,
guy who created the first breathing
yeah,
technique, and
yeah.
just
Which
all
is
these
sick.
things,
Which is
which
sick.
is
Like,
Yeah.
it's just
so weird.
nasty. And no, just that whole final battle is definitely one of my favorite moments. Obviously, my guy Tokido, his whole arc is great when they when they defend the swordsman village.
Yeah.
I love that because how his character is. He's his head's very in the clouds, but you finally like learn that this 12-year-old kid is an absolute killer. Like he is an absolute just monster. Like even the moment where Tanjiro attempts to to fight him himself for him knocking out one of the people from the swordsman village. He's like trying to move his arm and it just wouldn't budge. And he's like, his arms are like tinier and more frail than mine, and I can't even like move his arm.
Like that's my thing, dude. Like every time even when I'm reading manga, I'm like, I also have like this visual, like, oh my god, I cannot wait to watch this shit animated. Like
Bruh.
it's actually an awful habit, to be honest, because sometimes it takes me out of
Yeah.
actual manga because I'm just like, I just want to see this like done, like because it's so beautiful, and like Demon Slayer in general, like
Right.
we've seen it like the first season. It's just like, fuck, man, like this is
Right.
gonna look
I think
so
that's it.
cool.
I think, as much as a lot of this is on the creator of itself, Gotuge, in terms of creating this anime. I think a large part of why it's so popular is because of like UFO Table. We talked about it
Mhm.
on our lookout season, but the fact that it's animated in such an amazing way, like the art here is like it's good, but at times it's like shoddy. Sometimes it's doodly. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But then
I
again,
Yeah.
it's
know.
like
Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, it is what it is. You're drawing what you're drawing. It is what it is. I think the story itself empowers a lot more than the actual how it looks. If you can get from point A to point B and then have the amazing moments look like amazing moments, I think I'll pretty much sort of settle on that. But the fact that the anime has kind of brought this entire thing to life, and it's a visual aspect of it as well, which is why, to me, the anime is the reason why the manga is so popular because
Yeah,
nothing
Yeah.
really, not. I mean, in terms of the whole, even it claiming the first 19 spots on the Japanese,
Mhm.
manga charts and stuff like that, like even that didn't come to fruition until you finally got to see it up and close in person. And they had that award-winning battle. They had those moments. They made you feel for the characters, all this other stuff. I didn't get into it until I saw the anime, and then I was like, you know what? Let me continue reading the manga, and then the manga was great as well. So I think you owe a lot to it, and it comes with just the anime being so powerful. It's the
yeah,
same thing for
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z,
it's
right? Like
very
we're
special.
here, we're reading whatever the chapter is, and I'm pretty sure the new chapter will be out by now. But we're reading the chapter is, and we're just even looking at it. It was like, yo, I wonder how this is going to look when it's animated and we finally get to see it up in person. Like I think just that it would be a terrible thing if we're reading this thing and you don't even second guess about it. You're just like, oh, okay, great story,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Um, so the fact that we want to see it visually, I think it's always a commendable thing for these mangas. And not a lot of times that I think the only thing that I'm reading thus far that doesn't have an anime as of yet is it the Jujutsu Kaisen?
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
But it's coming soon. Like
It's
it's
coming.
coming
It is
soon.
coming soon.
Yeah.
It's getting animated too by the guys that did Parasite.
Oh, thank God!
So
It's gonna look so good. Mills, did you watch Parasite yet?
Yes, I did watch Parasite.
Oh yeah, that's right. You
It's
did. You did. We spoke about it.
but yeah, I think it's a great compliment to at least give. I think this entire thing, in terms of just Demon Slayer as a whole, I think from top to bottom, there are definitely some things at the end, and I think I agree with you, Jamal, on some of the things that you had, some of the critiques that you had towards the end. He was like, "Yo, I feel like they're just introducing random shit to weaken this, like the handicap Muzan by the end of the battle."
They know it was
And
hot, bro. They knew it was hot. They're like, we can just
yeah,
we can throw some shenanigans in here, and nobody's gonna really.
but right, but and then it's weird because it's also a weekly manga, but believe it or not, that final battle lasted 18 months. So
Mhm.
we're reading this, you're reading since December of 2018 is when I looked it up, where they finally Muzan reached the Ubayashi. Oh God, I don't want to mess up the name. But he kind of reached the house, and it kind of began there. Like, all
Mhm.
right, the gloves are off. Let's turn up. So it starts in December 2018. We finally ended like literally like 3, 4 weeks ago. So it's about 18 months that this thing is going on. So there's a lot of things that from week to week that you're just trying to get by, and a lot of stories that you're trying to tell. And trust me, they told a lot of stories. I
Yeah.
mean,
They did.
but you can do. I think you can do that when you know you're ending it.
Yeah,
Um,
they
Yeah.
must have always knew. They must have
and
always
I
knew.
give them and I give them leeway for that, because if it had been you're telling all these stories and you're thinking and you're dragging this thing along for the sake of an arc, and then it's like, oh, next time, I was joking about it on Twitter. Oh, the Hashira from the future comes back in time and trying to warn us about blah blah blah,
Right.
um, and stuff like that. Like, we shit on Dragon Ball Z for a lot of that, because sometimes Dragon Ball Z, goes on a hair too friggin' long, like the
Yeah.
entire Boo arc or something along those lines, and it goes on a little bit
So
longer
extra.
than
Yeah.
The Frieza stuff from week. I mean, imagine reading the manga every week for Frieza's thing. I mean,
Right.
we watched the show and they cover 2, 3 chapters in the show, so I can't imagine reading the entire manga week from week, wondering like, yo, when is the guy gonna turn Super Saiyan or something? Or
Yeah.
something's gonna happen. When is this guy gonna die? Frieza been alive for 3 years. I've been reading this manga, and this man is, and they're still,
Well, that's
if,
why I respect, what they've done because the stars aligned
mhm,
and they were self-aware enough to know that the stars aligned.
right,
Which you have to, if you don't see it, you can miss it, and they hit it. And I think that animes in the future, whether new or things that may be thinking about wrapping up soon, like I feel like this was a really nice way. They need to look at how this was brought down because this is very to me like the way that this show and the manga was shown. It's very like to me, it's just it's so modern, and
right.
it's weirder for me because a lot of this shit usually takes years. You know what I'm saying? So just to see it happen like this, and we get the ending. And were there some things that were disappointing? Of course, I think for the most part they hit everything on the head. I'm really like I'm happy like for the future of anime manga in general because I think Demon Slayer is going to show like, hey, we did it the right way, and I think others are going to kind of follow behind this, as time goes by.
Yeah, definitely. And I, going back to you talking about you're reading the manga while you're reading the manga, you're like, man, I can't wait to see this in the anime. And I do that a lot too. But to be honest, it helps me like within the story because in my head I'm kind of creating more of an active
Yeah,
visual
right.
than just kind of more some still pages. And I also do agree with Mills. There are moments in here where they, the drawing, took a step back. There was some moments where I
Too
was like,
quickly, too quickly.
but no, like this Demon Slayer, like you said, it really is something special because I'm pretty sure like most of us, we didn't get into the manga heavy until like we watched the first season
Mhm.
of the show, and then we're just like, oh shit, like I gotta read this, I gotta see what they did, and they really just capitalized on just nailing it on now all these people making this great anime. Now all these people are gonna come from the anime to the manga and they're jumping into the manga and the manga still heat and you're like, oh, like this shit doesn't get weak at all, like this is this story is still great. And like you said, all the stars just align for them, and everything just worked out perfectly for them to like end up on top.
Right,
This last chapter, I'm very happy that they give us a very clear cut ending.
right.
Yeah,
There, there
you know,
wasn't a feeling of something's gonna happen next.
well, so my only issue, all right, so my only issue, well, I wouldn't say it's well, I guess it could be an issue. My issue was towards the end. I wasn't sure now, so they kind of faked the ending, right? Like, we got a
They
false finish,
they did.
ostensibly, right?
It was.
Because I was like, okay, when you end it, I was like, huh, what was the part of turning Tanjiro into a demon now?
Mhm.
Like, it legitimately, I don't know
Shock
what it
value, bro.
exactly.
It was just shock value.
Maybe, maybe on a second read, in terms of like, because once again, as you're reading it from week for week, you're reading this thing in segments. You're not even at this point, you're not even processing it as a whole. Like I have to go back and read, you know, once this My Hero Academia arc is wrapped up, I have to go back and read it as a whole because we're missing things by virtue of reading it week from week and compartmentalizing it and segmenting it and all this other stuff. So you don't get the story in the way that it's probably supposed to be presented.
Mhm.
You get
Yeah.
it how you're pretty much it's presented to you because of, we only can animate this, we can only draw this so much over a week and stuff like that. So you get
Right.
that part. Um, but I was questioning. I was like, hey, why did we even turn him into a demon unless they were actually going to do something with him? It seemed like Muzan last gasp, but then it also kind of seemed like, but you're like the point was to kill you, like you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
like, and you're
Yeah.
dead. So it's like it was unless it's laying a seed for something that's supposed to happen, maybe a sequel that happens in the future, and maybe they wanted to keep it a little bit. I mean, you can't really keep it open-ended. He seems like he's pretty dead, but I don't know. You could throw anything in there. You could throw in.
Yeah.
I've seen
Cyborg
a lot of.
demons.
Yeah,
That's
it's not even that. Like,
Well,
oh, one piece of DNA was left. He managed to regenerate.
right, right.
The whole
uh
cell thing.
That was my thing.
Um,
Like that's why I didn't mind it being great great grandkids, because they left so much. They left a lot of years to, like, if they decide that they want to discuss that time frame or whatever happened, I guess they can.
well, I think also. So here's the thing for the guy who's running Haru Gotoge, like he's so like that episode of The Office, Jeff know what I'm talking about. He was like, you are so money,
Yeah.
and you don't
You don't
even
even
know
know.
it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't
yeah.
even know it. Like he is so because of just creating this, like I feel like you're not gonna limit yourself, at least not right now, to like one revenue stream. It's like
Yeah.
okay, because now I'm interested. Now he's written this entire thing. This is his first manga. He started. This was published when he was 27 years old.
Gangster.
He's he
that's
That's
is
heat.
30. He is 31. He is our
He's
age, and
alright.
he's written this.
That's heat.
Gangsters.
That's so inspiring and so
It
amazing. Like
truly is
I'm just like,
That's
bruh.
awesome.
that's
Like
cold.
when I take a look at all the great mangas and I kind of look back and kind of see when people actually started writing these, and I'm like, yo, you were like 3 years younger than I am right now. I'm
Right.
just like,
This was
bruh,
for us. Like,
yeah, you've changed the world, and
yeah.
now I'm inspired to change the world in my kind of way. But you kind of you get to see, I think he's going to decide, I think his next one, I don't want to say it might be better than this because I think we hold this kind of with a very strong sentimental value. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba has become like a new entryway point into manga of this generation of, the post Naruto. I wouldn't say post Naruto because Naruto still, it's like very
No comment.
popular and very
Man,
much still
listen,
a thing. But
Naruto doesn't have its stronghold anymore. I feel.
right, but
No
but
comment.
I still think it's like in this sort of post Naruto generation where they were kind of in this new renaissance of manga and anime and stuff like that. You definitely This is one of the main strong entry points into it. Like you can't Dragon Ball Z is still an amazing popular, manga and anime, but your entry point is 40 years, 40 years, 30 years ago. Like your entry point is there. So I think in terms of this entry point of like, let me get into this modern anime, you kind of have to start here, and that's kind of what he created. I think what he creates next, I mean, I'm sure there'll still be little swatches of Demon Slayer in it, but I'm interested in what he creates next because I'm sure he ended this for a reason, and we're going to get he could, you never know, he could become one of the greatest, manga writers of all time. Um,
This is a hell
he
of a
and
start. I'll say that
Yeah,
for a first.
he
Like this
ended
is a
this when
hell
he
of a
was
start.
young. I would love to see an interview with him in terms of like what he's got planned next to do after this, because it's just like, damn, like imagine, like he is so money right now. Like he doesn't even like the money hasn't even come. Like
Yeah.
he's got money now, but like the anime, the season 3, season 4,
The merch money.
whatever.
I
Yeah, the
think
movie
that's
money, the
part of
American
it
money.
though. I like what you just said, like, hey, yeah, he's sitting on a gold mine, but it's like he may think of it like, I've made a masterpiece. I
Mhm.
understand that, the manga's done. Now I have the anime. He's gonna eat off the anime for so long going forward, and while he's doing that, he can work on whatever's next for him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
I remember I was reading in terms of this, and I think I linked it in our Mod Silver group chat thingy. But I sent an article regarding the initial writer of Pokemon, right?
Mhm.
Like, so the initial writer of Pokemon, in terms of writing the anime and stuff, the anime, the manga, the game, they're all separate. Like, they're all separate worlds. They don't really deal with one another. I don't know if you've checked out Mount Silver yet. If you haven't, please do. But obviously, nothing, nothing is related to one another in terms of how it's written. The show is
No,
different from
yeah.
the game is kind of like, the show ends up being like kind of a spin-off of the game, kind of, but not really. It plays by its own rules. But the original writer of it intended to end Pokemon, and I'll link to this article as well. But the original writer intended to end Pokemon after the first movie.
Mhm.
He wanted to end it kind of there, and he had this idea, and it's like this very radical idea. Or was it the second movie? It was something like that. He talked about the second movie too, which
Regardless, it was supposed
his
to be way shorter, right?
yeah, it was supposed to be way shorter, but like, yo, the money was like, yo,
Yeah, yeah. The
yo,
billions.
we're phenomenal. Have you seen this thing in America? Like,
We cannot
like
stop.
we're making money. So they're essentially, he ended up leaving writing the show because he was just like, yo, I can't do this over and over. Like, he's writing the same episode. You're essentially writing the same thing over and over. Essentially, he believed that Ash's journey should have been done at a certain point, and then
Feel him.
another character's journey
I
should
feel him.
begin
I feel him.
afterwards. And they should continue cycling through these characters, to not make the story so
Yeah.
just,
Well,
sterile. But
Pikachu is too much money, man. You can't.
yeah, the money was
I get
there.
it. I get it.
I get from a company, I get from a billionaire standpoint of like, yo, why are we cutting in the money right now? But there's also, I I think that I recall that story to kind of say there is this sort of artistic merit that these writers have with their art, and they don't really want to compromise it, or they don't at least want their fingers to be, compromised. I think it's a great read if you actually want to like learn about a writer. He died like 10 years ago. Um,
Right.
Oh damn.
yeah, he died like 10 years ago. He wrote a lot of Pokemon while he was on alcohol and drugs, which is crazy. Which is crazy. It's a great read, but
Yeah, I saw you sent that. I didn't get to read it yet, but I saw the heading. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna definitely see what this is about.
yeah, it's a long
Makes a lot of
article, but
sense, man, to be
it's
honest with you.
super interesting. It's super interesting and kind of like getting the behind scenes. But I think, maybe I'm projecting this on GoToGay because I haven't read an interview. I don't know what he's actually like. Maybe
Mhm.
I'll try to find some translated stuff
He could be
after
just
this.
like us, man. He's a
Yeah,
UAC.
For real, he could
right.
like
After this, but I would like to think you would want to continue his legacy and not just be known as the Demon Slayer guy who wrote 25, you know,
Right.
yeah.
25 years worth of things, and he's kind of see how that. I don't think anything's supposed to last so long. Even Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama took a break for, what was it, 20 years, 15, 20 years, from writing new Dragon Ball. And we see the Hunter x Hunter creator's health deteriorating, not even able to finish the thing. So I think I think he wants to continue to spread his wings.
And why
his
not?
next
Because
his next one may be his best one. His next one may be the best one. Akira Toriyama didn't start with Dragon Ball. He started with what was that cute show? Um that was referred in Super. Oh, I forgot the name, but he didn't start with Dragon Ball. And Hunter x Hunter guy didn't start with Hunter x Hunter. He made two all-time great,
Yeah, yeah.
anime
That's
things.
he's a different beast though.
oh
He's
yeah,
like,
bro,
Yeah.
he goes crazy. He
Yeah,
he's
just
too
two
much.
all-time greats. So it's like, who are we to ever like put these people in a box and define them?
shout out to my green
Yeah.
outfits.
So all that to say, I think anime fans just in general applaud him for like, yo, you could go for the cash grab because this thing is going to make a lot of money. We appreciate it that you ended it here before it got wild whack.
Definitely. And on those beautiful ending words by the great Mills. Thank you guys so much for coming on the show. Talk about the talk about Demon Slayer, the ending, and what we want next. What's next for the Lookout right now?
Real quick. I'm gonna be back on this show at some point because I want to talk about this Pokemon manga that me and Jamal kind of just been talking on our own. But like,
yeah, oh yes, yes, it's gonna happen very soon, very very soon. So yeah, y'all keep eyes out on that one. But yeah, man, what's next up for the Lookout?
So the Lookout is beginning next week Tuesday. New season of the Lookout. Meanwhile, Mount Silver is also still going on, long and strong, by the way. So you'll have a certain amount of weeks with 3 different set of content from the Lookout team. So shout out to us for doing just an amazing job over it.
We don't stop working. We don't stop working.
So season, I would say season 8. We're currently in conversations to actually end the whole season moniker thing.
Yeah.
It's so many seasons.
Right.
It's just so many seasons.
Going into chapter, baby.
Right. Our new chapter of the Lookout will be covering the My Hero Academia season 2 and all that has to go with it. So we're very excited to be able to do that. We plan to have a formal announcement sometime this week. Just waiting for a couple things to be finalized, but you can expect a new episode definitely next week Tuesday. We're starting it off. If you've got your entire Lookout sort of package, if you wanted the stickers, you know what we've got next. Summer Akame House is coming back. Yep. The fall is a very, very big kind of a revisit for us. If you're interested in learning about all the things that we've got going on, and then we've got other things we've been talking about, behind the scenes, under the covers.
You never know. You never know.
Maybe not under the covers, but
come back, man. We never know.
Listen, man. We could drop a bomb on you at any time. Just know the content can come at any time. So keep your eyes open. Make sure you're tuned into the Lookout RNC page. And if you're just a fan of podcasts in general, you can follow us on RNC Radio Live. So yeah, man. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. Y'all stay plus ultra. Peace.